Hey folks, welcome back to Tampa, Florida Living. Today we've got a fun one for you. I got Phil Gilchrist, agent on my team, joining us. It's actually his idea, but we want to talk about not only living in Tampa, Florida, but the healthy lifestyle here. And healthy living in Tampa, I'm not going to hit you up with just fitness talk and healthy food options. It's all about getting outdoors, staying active, and how much of that can actually be free here in Tampa, which I love, and just making it part of your lifestyle. That's why it's such a special place to live, not only for, youngsters, but even 55 plus, et cetera, that really just want to stay active. So, I want to kick things off by introducing Phil a little bit and saying why he's the best person to bring on and why it was such, his idea. So Phil is an agent on my team, plays a special part on the team. And, he moved down here years ago from Jersey to play hockey, I believe, at UT. Is that right?
That's correct.
And, I'm just going to not try to go through your credentials. I'm going to let you give it to the folks of why you're such a good person to talk about this. But, Phil, give it to us, man.
Of course. Well, thank you for allowing me to share all my experiences since I've been here. Moved here for University of Tampa to play hockey. And after I graduated, the entrepreneurial mindset that I had was, okay, study exercise science, sports medicine. They don't really give you a direction in school. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to start a fitness company. So right out of school, 22 years old, started a fitness company. I had it for 10 plus years before I sold it to a private equity firm. And in 2012, when I founded the company, I also joined as a strength and conditioning coach with the Tampa Bay Lightning. So I worked with some of the best athletes all over the world. Also general population as well. That's where my fitness business, we had both. We had athletes and we had Gen Pop. So it was a great area, at that time to be able to, again, teach fitness because you have so many different accesses to do that. It was just, again, it was one of the best 10 years I ever had. And Tampa complemented that very well for me to do so and contributed to a lot of that success.
Yeah. So not letting him downplay it too much. I mean, he literally flew all over the world to, not only coach pros, but youngsters as well. He's created a bunch of different programs within Tampa, not to name them all, but, Phil really knows his stuff and he lives that lifestyle. And he even, suggests it or pushes it on me a little bit. It's like, hey man, we got to get you going. We got not only real estate business to stay active with, but we got to stay healthy. So we're going to really dive into a lot of the different avenues in Tampa. We're going to talk about, different like food options, a lot of hiking and biking trails that are around Tampa. I think that's a good one to go to. The outdoor lifestyle and benefits of living here. And maybe we'll touch on some gyms and just our different experiences to share with you guys. And folks, I see a few of you already jumping on and watching. I love that. Along the way, please throw in your comments, suggestions, questions, anything you guys got, throw it in the comments because we'd love to interact with you live. So I'm going to jump into the fun one. So many people move here and they talk about, are there any outdoor trails, biking trails, running trails, walking trails? Phil, I know you live right next to one. What is one of your favorites to just get out when I know that you're not a huge runner because you believe in that strength, preserve the knees, right?
I'm a sprinter.
But you like to rollerblade, hockey, whatever you can do. It's not pounding it, but sometimes you'll go out there for a jog. So where would you go?
So we talked about it obviously many times through the videos, but one of the staples here in Tampa, it's one of the longest continuous sidewalks in the world, Bayshore Boulevard. It's one of my absolute favorite because it just combines so many different attributes to being healthy. I've rollerbladed obviously on Bayshore. I've ran at them also on Bayshore. I've walked on Bayshore and I've biked on Bayshore. So
there you go.
I've done it all. It's definitely fitting for all those different activities in a safe environment. It also has the water. It's always in the sunlight. And again, just the gorgeous skyline when you're walking, down it. There's nothing more peaceful than being on Bayshore.
And I'd say it feels safe too. When you go out there, everybody has that different version, but you always see people out there doing the exact same thing, biking, working out, staying fit. And it's just a good feel. A lot of them actually run right back into High Park. I actually joined a run club there a long time ago. We used to go to Irish 31 in High Park and run through gorgeous High Park over to Bayshore and then come back. And we finished with a nice beer. So you know, it's not always healthy. Sometimes you got to make healthy fun.
It's
But
earned. It's earned.
Yep. So one of the things that I loved about it is now we've got the Riverwalk, which I think is one of the most overrated ones. I'm sorry, underrated, not overrated, underrated. Because it really takes you in from, Seminole Heights, Tampa Heights, that area, all the way down following the water. Again, great views in the water. And it gets you all the way down to that downtown area where, yeah, you could go Water Street, but really it could connect to Bayshore, and then you can go another 4, miles plus. Coming up here with the new developments, they're going to have an extension to the west side of the river, really going through a lot of, West Tampa, South Tampa neighborhoods, and then reconnecting. So this is going to extend from 2.6 to close to 13 miles with private bike lanes, supposedly. And then, of course, it can connect to Bayshore. So, we're going to have just a ridiculous amount of trails right there in the city alone. Moving along, say hi to a couple folks here. Derek, I believe New Tampa area is a very underrated area of the city that has nature trails as well. Yeah, they do. Absolutely. Tons out there. I'm actually going to talk to one that's kind of out that way in a second here. Eric, my wife and I are considering a move to the Tampa area next year. We live in Philly burbs now. Both of our work opportunities will bring us to Tampa. We like Wesley Chapel a lot. How are the schools? Yeah, Eric, I appreciate that. Yeah, come on down from Philly.
Yes. We love the Northerners. Bring them in.
Yeah, Wesley Chapel's really good. Schools A and B rated. If you reach out to me directly, I can send you all the ratings from all the schools direct from the Florida Department of Education. We have that mapped out really nice for you. But yeah, they have good public options as well as charter schools in case you're not right in that public school zone. Does it rain out there every few hours like in Orlando or Destin? Probably. It's Florida, right? And it depends on the time of year. If you ask me that in December, January, February, March, April, no, it doesn't rain, but maybe once a week, if that, not even. Right now we're in the rainy months. So yeah, every, maybe 2 hours a day, just about. It's about a 50% chance of rain every day for about 2 hours, then you're done. So 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., you're fine. That humidity and everything builds up over the day, and then you got a little bit of rain in the evenings, but, it doesn't hurt your entire day. So where I was going, I'm going to continue with trails, different biking and running trails. Decent amount of folks on. If you guys have any questions or concerns, write them in the comments and we can interact live with you guys. So we talked about Bayshore. We talked about the Tampa Riverwalk. One of my favorites. So my background with fitness in a way is I grew up working out, playing sports as well. I did over 27 triathlons. So I was always on the bike, looking for places to bike or run. And the Upper Tampa Bay Trail to me is one of the best. And for folks that don't know, it actually converts into the Suncoast Trail. So if you want those long bike rides, that's a really good one. And I would catch it somewhere around West Chase area. And it would follow the trail north, and it would cut over on Lutz Lake Fern to the interstate. That's where you catch the Suncoast, and it takes you all the way north to Brooksville. So that was my favorite close into Tampa. As far as just getting in a good bike, I'm not worried. Like the Riverwalk is good for jogging and things like that. Bikes, I feel like it can be a little congested because it's more pedestrian friendly, where Bayshore is like wide open as well. You're good there too. So, but this one is like really, if you're like, hey, I'm going to go 20 miles an hour on a bike, I would say Suncoast is where it's at. Some folks like the Courtney Campbell that go across that bridge over the water, over the bay that takes you from Tampa to Clearwater. Personally, I think it's a little wide open. And every time I've done it, unless it's winter, it's hot. So that's not my favorite, but some people like it because maybe you'll catch a dolphin. It's just good views over the water.
It's good to train in the heat too,
Yep. I know Derek mentioned over in New Tampa, it's a lot of trails and nature trails. We didn't even jump into nature trails, but Flatwoods is a good one that I know my wife trained on for a bit. That's out there by the Nonasassa / Bruceby Downs in that range, which is kind of out towards like that New Tampa area. But one of the biggest ones that I think is just awesome is the Pinellas Trail. So for you folks that don't know Pinellas, Tampa is in Hillsborough County, across the bridge towards the beaches, St. Pete, Clearwater, all of that is going to be your Pinellas side. And the Pinellas Trail really goes from St. Pete all the way north through Clearwater, all the way up to Tarpon Springs. It does connect to that Courtney Campbell Causeway that goes over the bridges as well. But what I think is really cool about it is, like, over in Dunedin, for example, it was an old railroad track that they, abandoned, that they ended up just paving over. And that's where the locals live around this trail. And you can hop on the trail and then bike into like the little Dunedin downtown. And, it really made me think, and I said this at the beginning of the video, it's not all about just youngsters getting out and running and biking. Like, sometimes it's just casual biking. It's about getting outdoors. And you can see that with the residents there. It's like, Dunedin is not just a bunch of 30-year-olds. It's a mixed bag, and just people getting out, walking the shops and hopping breweries, and you can do that all on bicycles. So really think that's cool. And I think that's a good segue into like our outdoor activities. Living here in Tampa, one of the best things is our outdoor benefits. Phil, you moved from Jersey a long time ago. What were maybe one or two of the benefits that you saw coming from a state, little bit of a northern state, coming down to Florida? What were maybe some of the biggest differences / benefits?
Well, I was also like in the fitness industry out there as well. So again, working with people, right, to improve their lifestyle, if it's weight loss or muscle gain. One thing I always noticed was, the seasonal depression, that was up north, right? You get in that, we talked about it before, you get in a really good routine, and then all of a sudden, the weather gets cold, it starts snowing, and it takes you off track from what you're doing. So being
summertime, you're feeling good. You're in a routine. You got 8, 10, 12 weeks into a workout, outdoor, running or whatever. And then it switches on you.
It switches. Yeah, it switches. So you kind of go to like a routine where everything is going right for you. And then you almost are at the point where you have no options. So you just don't stay in the routine, and you just don't do it. So
how's that changed down here?
All year long, there's always something to do, right? So again, you have all these different parks. You can be active just in your normal day-to-day, going to restaurants. But what it really does provide here is that accessibility, because we're all pressed for time nowadays, to just be able to just walk outside and just do something right outside your house and just say you got it in and you kept the routine going. It just propels you to keep that lifestyle. So I saw it in my parents. My parents were in New Jersey till they're about 62 years old. My dad's lost 30 pounds now since he's been here for a year, and my mom's lost weight. So,
and what's changed with that? What changed for them? That is it just getting out and staying active?
Well, I guess you could throw a little retirement in there. That that always helps out a little bit. But again, for them, they wake up in the morning, they go right outside. It's just something they always do. It's better habits. They eat better, right? Because at the end of the day, it's not also the activity. It's also your food is just as important. And we have in Tampa here definitely a lot more access to healthy food than we have up north, right? You always think up north, pizza, Italian. Here, there's tons of fresh markets. We have a lot of also, I think we can get a little further into this with the food stores that we have, and then also the easy accessibility if you're in a rush, that we have some healthy restaurants and options as well to your disposal.
Yeah, we'll talk about the food in a second here. I got a quick, any folks that are watching, please drop comments in, even if it's a little off subject. I'm happy to answer. It's just a live, interaction that we can work with you guys. So Thomas said, did any of you guys live here in the 90s, early 2000s? I've heard interviews where they say St. Pete was really bad then. Is that true? Streets seem pretty safe to walk on now. Yeah, man. Thomas, I was born and raised here. Got to go back about 4 generations in Tampa. So a lot of this is personal experiences. And I can go back to when I had an uncle that was a vet that would drive around, and doctor, technically. They would go around in horse and wagon in Tampa, man, servicing people at their homes. So got a lot of history here. But to give you that answer, there's a lot of parts that were slower pace, under the radar, kind of, rough around the edges in St. Pete. I mean, I could tell you that in Tampa too. I mean, Seminole Heights, Riverside Heights, they were historic areas that thrived at one point, but then they went downhill, and we had a really rough patch there for decades. Until the Riverwalk and a few different developments. And, you could call it gentrification. You could call it just bringing the city back to life and the economy picking up. and Fortune 500 companies coming here, when they start attracting that, you're going to get bigger businesses. The city's going to grow, and naturally it's going to start cleaning up from the inside out. So I don't want to say it cleaned up the area, like, people wise, but as far as when you see a dilapidated house, cleaning that up, that's important. So back then you would find pockets, Seminole Heights, used to be prostitutes on the street, used to be kind of drugs, rough area, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. And now it's like farm to table restaurants and going to date nights there. So, things change, decades, I'm sure that they'll change in another 30 years too.
If you haven't been here since 2012, to me, it's a completely different city. What I came down to for school here, what I saw when kind of in that first recession, it's a completely different dynamic and identity now than it was even 13 years ago.
Yep, really it is. Here's another person. I visited St. Pete and fell in love with looking to move to Tampa for close to a year now, coming from NYC. Fixed it on the NYC part. St. Pete's great. Tampa's great. We got a lot of good pockets now, a lot of good places. We've always had good places to live. So, but going back to those outdoor benefits of living here, again, I want to really preface that or state that while we are talking about fitness, yes, we started with trails and biking. It's like, you don't have to go biking and running. It's just about outdoor benefits. And, one of those things is that Phil touched on is, yes, we have all year round outdoor. Is it hot? Yeah. One, your blood adjusts to it, Now if it's under 70, I get chilly. Not saying that I adjusted. I was born and raised here, but as a local, I've had plenty of people that came from Chicago and all this stuff, and like they're throwing on a hoodie, and I'm like, man, it's only 70 degrees outside. It's 68.
Hey,
they're like,
that's me right now.
There you go. 68's chilly. So yes, all year round, December, you could go for a walk on the beach. One of the things I love to talk about is the free activities, because I've got youngsters, I got children. So 5 and 9, almost 10 years old, December, we'll go out with just a long sleeve shirt on, because for us, it's still chilly, and we'll go shelling on the beach. We'll go play soccer on the beach, and it's empty, which I love. So, going shelling on the beach. Then we'll go down to Venice and we'll go shark teeth hunting. And again, it's just about a couple hours where you're out running or getting outdoors, right? Then we'll go down to blueberry picking, or we'll go to farmers markets, or fall festivals or patches, or outdoor concerts where you're outdoors and you're enjoying yourself, but you're walking around. You look down and next thing you know, you're like, I got 15,000 steps, 20,000 steps today, and I wasn't exercising. I was just out. So that's the key to it all, is how much can you get outdoors? How much can you stay active? A lot of this stuff is free. Phil, you mentioned I know Armature Works has yoga on the lawn that's free all the time. There's like 100 people out there doing yoga in the mornings. Yes. What else do you know? I mean, you know about some of those things, don't you?
Yeah, well, also too, I think Tampa's done a great job by, again, bringing the community together. We talked about, the run clubs, the bike clubs. There's a lot of intramural sports too, right? You have for the kids, you have it even for the adults. They make events out of it, right? They make weekends, to build around. So there's paddle boarding, right? Like you can go out paddleboard and do yoga on the paddle bar in the middle of the ocean. I believe they have that over by the Getaway, which is the basically, right, it's going to be the bridge from Tampa over to St. Pete. So they've incorporated all those things, around fitness and active lifestyle. And there's tons of options all over Tampa.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, you go on the river alone, you can rent aqua bikes, you can bike on the river, you can paddleboard, kayak, even boating where you're tubing and stuff. It's just getting out, having fun, but that's the beauty of it. I mean, and this will be a good segue, but even after this podcast, you're going out to play pickleball with some of your Lightning buddies.
Yes.
So that's kind of the fun thing, is like pickleball is a big thing right now too, right? And we talked about earlier, 55 plus, like it's not all about youngsters. People move here, they just want to be outdoors. So pickleball, I've seen around Tampa different spots where the city actually, adjusted the parks to that, adding where it used to just be basketball courts and tennis courts. They're starting to add in pickleball courts. So I know right downtown there's a couple options, but that's a great thing too. You could just walk on the court. You don't have to be a member.
No, and we've seen it kind of even now build it into the communities, though. In Wesley Chapel, they've also in Lithia. They just put one in Buckstone. Like they're making that actually part of the amenity centers, also around the mass production, communities. So it's cool how they're fitting that all in.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Folks, if any of you are watching, drop your questions or any interest you have in anything, drop it in the comments. We love hearing from you. Thomas just said the rail trail is the coolest thing ever. Yeah, that's the one out there in Pinellas we were talking about, how you could just jump on, especially in Dunedin area. You could just go right into the downtown area, and you'll see folks on that, young and old, just always biking and walking on that thing. So let's switch gears for a minute. Let's talk about food. I love food. I came from a restaurant background, always looking for some healthy options. And I'm going to tell you, one of the things when I think of healthy options, it's not always like clean eating, but, some folks, I think it's more prevalent now. Like my kids have a few little allergies. My wife is dealing with some gluten-free stuff that she has to, and she loves a good pasta, but, switching gears to like maybe a gluten-free options. And I'll tell you, like, coming from my, background of eating everything, and I still do. And by the way, folks, I'm with you. I'm the best ice cream eater there is. So it's not like I'm saying there's no healthy, you can't snack and have fun. But if you need to go gluten-free, there's a handful of options here, and the food tastes amazing. So some of the options I wrote down is like Fresh Kitchen down in South Tampa, Forbici in Hyde Park Village, Hail Life Bakery is in a fantastic bakery, but Bar Taco is also in Hyde Park Village. And most of these places you go to and you don't even realize that it's gluten-free. You're just like, man, that's a hell of a taco, But the number one place that I've experienced so far for like a really nice night out, and I'm going to tell you, I don't eat gluten-free, but I just eat. But for my wife to go with me, it's the Pearl down in Water Street, Tampa. The Pearl, I was pleasantly surprised. I actually shot Phil a screenshot because I was there this weekend, and good old Ric Flair was sitting there eating because he pretty much lives there. But man, they have a fantastic menu. They have these. It's called. They're basically dates stuffed with like a Gouda, or what is not like a Gouda cheese wrapped in bacon and seasoned on top with like a chimichurri. And then we'd had shrimp and grits, and they had a short rib. I mean, honestly, it's like a fantastic menu, and they got a little bit of something for everybody. So I would suggest the Pearl. And again, there's a ton of gluten-free options. I know, Phil, you did a little research on grocery store options and just honestly, just places that are accessible to people with healthy food. So what do you got for me?
So like one of the big things that, especially as a health coach for many, many years, it's not everybody has the time to go grocery shopping and cook their meal prep, right? Like it's not built into everybody's schedule. So the one thing I've always really appreciated, in this area is also more of those grab and goes where, back in the day, grab and go, you're going to McDonald's, you're going to Wendy's, right? You're going like, you're going to maybe try to pick the healthiest thing on that menu.
A lot of people thought Chipotle is the healthiest.
Right. Hey, exactly. They thought that was, again, right. Like, could you go there and can you order healthier options? Yes. But also there's been a lot of like restaurants here that have like done the work for you and they offer healthy options. So one that
like meal prep type setup or like a healthier Chipotle option. Yeah.
Fit Life Foods was always, a great place where it's like, hey, like, I just don't have time in my schedule. I'm always on the road driving the kids around. I can go pick up 12 meals that I can put in my refrigerator, and I have easy access to because that's when you make bad decisions, is when you don't have time, right?
Yeah. So what are some of the places that you would throw out, or like give a good example of that?
So Fresh, okay, is one of it's in Hyde Park. And, they have all pre-selected, meals that you can go there. And again, you pop in, you order it, and you're out in 5 minutes. They give you the protein breakdowns. They give you the carbs. They really give you, good information on what you're putting into your body. Another one was Sweet Soul, which is more of like, you can go there and grab more of a snack, that is healthy options, high in protein. So when you get the landscape of where you live and there is a lot of those different places on a micro level where you can find that could really propel you into that healthy lifestyle and help you from not make those bad decisions.
Yeah. And you were saying like even grocery stores, because I am somebody that likes to cook. I mean, those options are great for, it's like, oh shit, I'm behind schedule here because we're busy sometimes. Right. But I do like to cook. So Trader Joe's has always been a decent one to grab something. I mean, we have Greenwise, Publix, or Whole Foods just about everywhere.
Sprouts.
Believe it or not, Costco is becoming, that go-to place for some items, not all. And then I've really dove into like little. They are chained, but there's like 2 of them here. It's Wild Fork, where everything's flash frozen. Get some really good high quality meats, fish, seafood, things like that you could bring home and then pull out of your freezer when you need it. And I'm talking flash frozen, so it doesn't have that, and they have everything up to Wagyu. You could buy ground elk, just things like that are just not your typical stuff you're going to find at Publix. But one quick comment here. Thinking of relocating from Connecticut. Awesome. Been to Connecticut a bunch of times. Which area within half an hour to 45 minutes from the beach that's safe and reasonably priced to rent or buy? Appreciate your help. Yeah, so that's a loaded question because number one, we always focus on lifestyle. So yes, you want to be close to the beach or 45 minutes from the beach. 45 minutes is pretty much anything in Tampa is going to be about 45 minutes from the beach, but it's also not going to be 20 minutes. Even if you live in St. Pete downtown, it's 20 minutes. So because you have to cross the bridges to get over there. So we would happily go through that with you to really understand your lifestyle. I would say first, think about, do you need school options? Where's your job going to be so that we know where that commute's going to be? What is your budget? And then what type of living do you want? So if you were like, hey, I'd love to be 20 minutes from the beach, but I want new construction, well, then that's not going to happen because Pinellas doesn't really have new construction. You got to go over to the Tampa suburbs, probably in the north or the southeast. So happy to go through that with you. As far as areas, there's awesome areas. If you needed simple, you have a decent budget, I would go Dunedin if you want to be closest to the beach. You could look at West Chase on the Tampa side. It's all around awesome community. If you like older, I like Carrollwood. Mm-hmm. And then if you're on the St. Pete side, again, there's historic Kenwood, Old Northeast all the way up. I mean, there's so many different options. And that's why I'm saying we really have to dive into your lifestyle to give you a really clear answer there. It says constant crypto. How do people afford to live in St. Pete? It's insane. I'm going to answer this the best way I can. Everybody has a different version of what's affordable, what's expensive, what they expect. Okay. Depending on where you come from, a lot of that and what your background is, what your job is really what dictates what's expensive or not. What I will say is that Tampa has turned into a sleepy, under the radar town. Not sleepy, it's never been sleepy. It's under the radar city that always felt like a town. Now we're actually in the spotlight for 3 or 4 years now. And the developments that we've all talked about here have put us in the spotlight to where we're a thriving city now. You've got Fortune 500 companies coming here. And so it's no longer that quiet place that's not in the news. That being said, how do you afford it? A lot of people's expectations that we see, we talk to thousands of people every year, and a lot of people just want turnkey. They don't want to put that sweat equity, that old mentality of like, oh, I just want a turnkey. I want to buy it and I'm done. And by the way, can you give me $50,000 of equity? And by the way, can you keep my payment down? Like, we're in a time nationwide that inflation's a real thing. So the best way I could say it in this market right now, and it's not the easiest to find, is find a fixer upper, buy it as affordable as you can, because there's probably some negotiating room, and put a little bit of time in to fix it up if you can. I've done 6 houses that way. I've never bought a new house, not to say I couldn't, but every single house I've built equity in by forcing equity with sweat equity. And then the end product was I got exactly what I want because I updated it. So, and sometimes you have to be handy. Sometimes you can hire out depending on your situation. But how is it affordable? Depends on what you're looking for. I don't know that affordable is in everybody's vocabulary anymore, but I do feel like there are better options for you depending on what you're looking for.
Well, and I also like St. Pete's now provided a lot of potential. There's a lot of opportunity also within St. Pete, right? It's been growing the last 10 years at a rapid level. So there's also the ability to, ride with that wave. So there's more jobs being created there. The houses are obviously have been getting nicer. The culture there's a great culture that it's built around. So, again, you got to put yourself in areas where also that you can use that, to propel off of. So I think that's a big part as well.
Yeah. We got a lot of folks on here right now. And, we were talking about healthy living in Tampa. Just that lifestyle, outdoor benefits, food options, trails, biking trails, and all that. So if you just hopped on, you have any questions, throw it down in the comments, and I'm happy to interact with you live. Really any question, but that's what our topic is. So if you have anything specific to that, we're happy. Eric Hernandez or Eli, what's good about Ruskin? I'm assuming maybe you saw that from our Instagram reel recently for underrated areas, but Ruskin, if I had to give it some clout, everybody has different versions of what's hot, what's not. To me, it wouldn't have been on my top few. It was one of my agents, if that's what you're going to, that said, Ruskin. If I had to give it something as an underrated area, it's affordable. It's in an area where there's a lot of surrounding areas like Apollo Beach, Parrish, Lithia, Valrico that are really, Waimama, that are really starting to sprout. And, everything down there is getting legs. So if you're telling me like, would I go there right now and everything's perfect? No. Do I think it has potential? And do you have that ability to wait it out and see what starts popping up around you? Yeah, it's got potential. So if you're looking for affordable options, you don't need all that right now, but maybe some upside potential down the road. Ruskin is just one of those areas that have upside potential.
For sure.
Hopefully that answered it for you. So, yeah, I mean, Phil, do you have anything else to add while we have folks on here towards living in Tampa, healthy living, getting outdoors, any of those things that we talked about?
Yeah, I just think to tie it all up, really, again, there's so many different options. If you're just with your family, going to restaurants, it's a great place to provide walkability. You can combine all that active lifestyle in with your routine for the day. We have tons of gym options here as well.
Phil, I'm gonna stop you on the gym thing, man. Sorry,
okay.
It's gonna answer this, right? So you can take this one over. But Michael asked, where are the nice gyms? I know there's a Lifetime Fitness, but most of the other gyms are $10 a month, and you tend to get what you pay for. Outdoor trails are amazing. Yes, they are. Thanks, Michael. Phil had this on his bucket list or on his list to talk about. So
yeah, so that's one of the really, really cool things about this area. So again, you have those bigger box gyms, which are going to be here: Crunch Fitness, Planet Fitness, LA Fitness. Right? They're a little bit more your corporate style. They're more basic. They're very overcrowded. But they do provide, multiple gyms in multiple areas. So if you're someone like me that is always on the road in different towns, I have the ability to go to a Crunch Fitness in Wesley Chapel, and I can go to one here in Tampa. So I actually always carry one of those memberships because I can be active throughout the area. Now, in Tampa, okay, and even now you're starting to see this spread to the suburbs. There's a lot of micro gyms, okay, almost like your neighborhood small gyms that provide personal training, or they have a limit on how many members can be there. They've also too have a lot of option with small group fitness. Okay. F45, Orange Theory. There's a gym that I go to called Camp, and they're more functional training. They have yoga classes, Pilates, cycling, and they kind of combined everything together in a membership. So you have those options as well, depending on your comfort level, what you're looking for. And to be honest with you, I switched all throughout the year because, I don't like to stay on the same routine, but I would always keep my big box membership because I have accessibility all over Tampa with it.
Yeah, it's like you and I went to Crunch the other day to like crank out a quick workout in the morning. But then you might go to another gym for, maybe what he's talking about, which is like the new Gasworks Gold or the Lifetime down there. What is that, Lifetime down there? The new one that
Lifetime,
just
yeah, it's new. It's in the Harbor Island, old Harbor Island Club. More
what
of
you're like
prestigious. It's the membership's over $150 a month, but they combined it now working areas into that. It's almost like a gym you can go to and you can spend the whole day there. You can
So
work
it's almost
from
like you have co-working, you've
Yes.
got massive gym, you've got sauna. I don't even know if they have a cold plunge there. I didn't look at it that far, but
And we have a
those
lot of
gyms.
those too, Adam. You know, we again, preventative medicine, right? Like we're talking about like activity, right? And healthy eating, but also preventative medicine is also one of the, you know, most important aspects is recovery. So you have cryotherapy all over here. You have now places that opened up sauna, cold plunges. You know, again, deep tissue massage. They literally have brought everything, and you can find them now in these smaller, you know, towns where they have, you know, them in a strip mall, and it's your neighborhood spot.
Yep. So basically, I'm gonna tie a bow on. I think that was a good way to end this here, guys. Thank you for joining us. There are a ton of things that we could answer for you. I mean, it's a deep dive on how amazing Tampa is, not only with the endless things to do, the neighborhoods, and obviously now the potential for healthy living and getting outdoors. But if you folks have any questions we didn't get a chance to answer it for you, please reach out to us because we'd love to help. And to be fair, after this, jump onto our channel if you have more things. You want to learn more about the areas and the neighborhoods because that's what it's all about. Tampa Florida Living Channel, we cover everything you need to know and what it's like living in Tampa. Folks, thank you again. Until that next video, we'll catch you later. Woo!